Hello, everyone. My guest today is Ramon Berrios. He's building a company called Trend.io and was born and raised in Puerto Rico and now is living in Denver, Colorado. Ramon, you ready to take us to the top?
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
All right. What is Trend.io?
We help consumer brands connect with micro-influencers so they can scale user-generated content.
Okay. And so give me an idea here of like the kinds of customers you're serving.
Yeah, so CPG, fashion, beauty, all these brands need to generate content for their paid advertising. User-generated content tends to convert really well. Studios are expensive, and micro-influencers happen to be great content generators, which make it affordable and scalable for these brands to produce content.
Mm-hmm. So one of the things that is always tricky about this space and these sorts of platforms is attribution, right? Like, can the brands actually measure the influencers that they're finding through Trend, and are the influencers actually driving a return? How do you solve that issue?
Absolutely. So that's not what we do. We just help them source the micro influencers to generate the content, and all the attribution is done through whatever channels they're leveraging that content with. So whether it's Snapchat ads, YouTube ads, Facebook ads, or Instagram ads specifically. So we're just a place to create the connection and facilitate the process and management.
I see. And help me understand sort of pricing. What's the average company paying to use you?
Anywhere from $2,000 to about $10,000. So it's a self-service marketplace. We're usage-based pricing. In the past, we were your traditional SaaS model, but we noticed that that wasn't going to work well in this space just from trial and error.
Mm-hmm. So that's $2,000 a month or a year?
No, sorry. We've been with this revenue model for about 6 months now. So our average lifetime value right now is around the 2,000 range so far.
But lifetime value over what? So over what period of time? What's the average customer paying you per month, would you say?
Per month, it really depends. Some stay active monthly, some don't. So I would say about $1,000.
Okay, 1,000-ish. And about how many brands are you working with?
Right now, we are about to hit 200 brands in the marketplace.
Okay, and how many of them are actually paying?
All of them are paying, but some of them pay every month. Some of them just say, hey, we're going to take a break for 3 months. We'll see you later. And they can come back. So you could look at us like a vetted Upwork where they just activate a creator whenever they need it.
So over the past 30 days, how many companies paid you at least $1?
Close to 60.
Okay, got it. So at any given time, you have call it between like 20 and 30% of these companies active.
Yes.
Interesting. And what I imagine that's a key growth driver for you, right? What sorts of things are you doing to reactivate these brands that maybe used you a year ago and haven't used you since?
For sure. So, when we looked at this space, we saw that every company in the space was investing in a sales team, and we couldn't compete with that. So we instead invested in the product. So we got rid of the sales team. We invest 100% of the products into the product. So customer success, campaign templates, examples of other brands. And then we have incentives for discounts based on how many credits you purchase at bulk. That incentivizes the brands to get an account manager and get 10, 20% discount per credit if they purchase at bulk.
And how does a credit tie to number of pieces of content they're getting from your micro-influencers?
Yeah, so a credit will get you, so all credits are standardized, they're $100, and that gets you, a post from the micro-influencer under your social, but you also get the video or the image with licensing and distribution rights. So right now you get, one piece of content that you get to review before you get to download it with licensing and distribution rights.
Okay, so over the past 30 days, these 60 brands that have paid you an average of called $1,000, they were each getting about 10 pieces of content at 100 each from 10 micro-influencers you found for them.
That's accurate, yeah.
I see. And does your system also handle things just like laws? The micro-influencers, like it's a work product. The business can use the video that the influencer creates in future ads and things like that with no legal repercussions?
Correct. Yeah. So that's why businesses pay us, because of course you can do this in-house, but then you have the legal aspect that, hey, you're going to try and save $1,000 to actually spend more time doing this and potentially not have the documentation right to have repurposing rights. Also, Trend is the liable party in between. So it relieves the brand from, hey, we're good to use this on other channels.
What is that liability? If someone was trying to do this direct, what sorts of documents would they have to get signed by every micro-influencer?
Well, they would probably, the thing is, it's not a complicated documentation, but then the moment that you tell an influencer, hey, what's your rate? Oh, by the way, can I also get the content? They're going to say, hold up a minute, that's an extra price for that. And then you have to, add that to the document, and it just delays the time it takes to activate an influencer with, of course, sending a document to each, whereas with Trend, they've already approved that in our terms of service as we make that clear when they join.
Okay. And what's your team size today? How many folks?
5 people.
Five. How many engineers?
They're all contractors.
Okay.
So we have 3 different contractors we work with. We have our web, we have our iOS, and then we have our website as well. So all of those contractors.
So 3 contracted engineers and then 2, I assume one of those 2 is you on marketing and sales and growth.
Yeah, that's me. And then my partner designs the whole platform and manages the developers.
I see.
So everything's been designed by him.
That's great. Have you raised additional capital? Last time we spoke, I think you said you raised about 750 grand.
We haven't raised since we last spoke.
Got it. So $750,000. You were burning at that point, I think, about 5 grand per month. And you were doing, I think you told me something like 20 or 30 grand a month in revenue. Have you got to profitability today, or at least break even?
No, we have not. We are burning right now anywhere from 20 to 30. But what we noticed is what we changed was that we removed the sales team. So now we know that once we pass the 150K MRR, 150K a month in transactions, we don't really need to spend more from there. So it hasn't been our focus right now.
So can I take 60 enterprise like business accounts that have paid you about $1,000 over the past 30 days? So you're doing about $60,000 in MRR currently?
Yep.
And so if you're investing and kind of burning about 20 grand a month right now today, I mean, what are you burning it on to get to $150,000 a month in revenue?
Well, we acquired all our customers through content marketing and email marketing, and as you know, content marketing is slow. So we're now trying to spend money to actually acquire customers through paid acquisition channels, and then the development of the platform is the rest goes to that.
Where did you find your contractors? There's so many resources to find developer contractors, and there's varying degrees of quality.
Yeah. So one of them we actually met over in Austin at Capital Factory, who manages a couple of developers in the Philippines who are great. The other guy who manages our iOS, who developed our initial iOS app, my partner exchanged 500 hours of design with him in order to get our V1 for free. He said it was
500 hours.
Yes.
Oh,
we got like an app that was like $100,000 for free, but he still says it's one of the worst decisions he's made.
I mean, yeah, it's like 2/5. That's like 2/5 of a year if you're working 40-hour weeks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Interesting. Okay. Talk to me about the content marketing strategy. So your big organic keywords right now are terms like macro influencers, most successful Shopify stores, and this thing called Kohl's, which I have no idea what that is.
Yeah. So key opinion leaders, that's really taken off in China. And now it's taken over here where it's like, hey, it's not just an influencer. It's actually someone who is entitled to give an opinion on this specific product because they're an expert of that matter.
Do they have to actually be an expert, or they've just branded themselves as an expert? Like if it's a doctor, is it like a celebrity doctor like Dr. Phil, or is it like a real doctor out of Harvard?
It could be like a real doctor out of Harvard who, has the credibility to speak up on a product or something like that.
Okay, so it's more about credibility versus reach, because very rarely are those two things the same today. There's a lot of people that have a lot of reach, but very little credibility. They're not actually a doctor. And there's a lot of very smart, good doctors that have no voice.
Correct. Exactly.
Well, so who are you appealing to, though? The one with no audience, but a real doctor, or the one that has a lot of audience because they can drive your brand's real new customers?
Yeah. So in that case, it would have to be the ones that have an audience.
Yeah.
To be able to drive customers. In our case, we saw that there was a lot of opportunity in that keyword and we just went for it. But the Shopify one is the one that's crushing right now.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Okay. And so, so that's a keyword that you're ranking for. And what does your content strategy look like right now? I mean, are you hiring someone full time? Is it agency based? How are you doing it?
Yeah. So we have Jay and our team who manages our writers, who are contractors and subject matter experts who we have our keyword strategy and topics, and that changes dynamically where we just assign it to them. and somebody on our team is taking care of making sure that all that content is keyword optimized. And then we publish weekly along with our podcast, which is now ranking pretty high in the DTC category. So that is starting to do really well. That's our content strategy.
Was Kevin Lavelle in Mizzen and Main one of your guys' customers, or did you get this case study just based off you analyzing their stuff?
Oh no, they were one of our customers. So we worked with Mizzen and Main. They published content. They generated content on trend, and then they were running that content on paid advertising.
So, I mean, that to me, that sounds like you are sitting in the middle. You do have to measure attribution if they're uploading content and then running paid via trend, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the only way for us to be able to attribute that is to, plug in onto these other platforms where the content is being leveraged via API. But it's challenging enough right now, especially with limited capital, to be able to grow a marketplace on both ends and continue to optimize on the technology. So we know we're going to get there. But even right now, it's big enough of a value prop for brands that we're able to do this very efficiently, affordably, and in a scalable way.
Now, Kevin spent a lot of money getting some big names behind Mizzen and Main early, JJ Watt, for example. How important is it for brands that pay you to have sort of a celebrity that they pay a lot for as like their key influencer? Doesn't that make a bunch of other influencers much more likely, even via trends, to sign up to promote Mizzen and Main?
Yeah, absolutely. We focus on micro influencers, but we vouch for brands to also work with, KOLs, if you will, because, if you have a white label CBD brand with just a sticker on it with an Instagram that has 3 pictures on it, likelihood is that people aren't going to want to work with you. And we would love to take your money, but we know it's not going to be a fit. So the better, the more social proof you already have, the more it's going to organically want to have people work for you with you paying less and giving out less.
Mm-hmm. Should I be using, one of the things we do with our magazine, you can see it behind me. We ship this thing out now to like 10,000 CEOs every month. And I sent an email out. It just delivered to a bunch of doorstops today. I said, hey, you check your mailbox. You just got your magazine. Take a picture of yourself holding the magazine and I'll shoot you like a surprise as a result. And this morning I woke up to like loads of people posting selfies, like entrepreneurs with the magazine, and it's driving a bunch of sales. And now I'm going, well, crap, how can I even like drive this even bigger? My Instagram is verified, beautiful blue check mark, get a lot of engagement. Should I be using trends to sell more copies of the magazine?
So if you were to use trend, you probably have to focus on, influencers that are starting out their own business, especially with COVID. It's a good time because they're all trying to diversify income. So I would say, yes, it would work for that. However, we focus more on lifestyle products. Yeah. If you came to us and said, Ramon, I need SaaS, micro influencers, we're probably going to have to pass because it's not the medium of our network.
What is the equivalent of you, but for people thinking about side hustle or moms launching businesses from home or launching your own or a college grad that wants to start their own business? Who's like the equivalent to Trend.io?
So we do take on those businesses. We have a bunch of moms that are starting out their own businesses, but they just have to be products in food, fashion, beauty, CPG, because that's what our audience is likely to be a better fit for in terms of creating content. But we do work with brands, that spend $500 every 3 months, and we work with brands that are spending $10,000.
Yeah, but who should I work with? Like I'm asking you, like friend to friend. If you're saying that you're not a fit for me to put money through, who is the equivalent to you that I should put money through, knowing that I want to sell more magazines to founders?
Yeah, to be honest with you, in your case, it would probably be best to kind of like copy model what Trend does using an Airtable template with a freelancer who just manages that process because most platforms have crazy software fees.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So we don't have any software fees.
Okay, cool, man. Let's wrap up here with the famous 5. Number 1, what's your favorite business book?
Principles by Ray Dalio.
Number 2, is there a CEO you're following or studying?
Well, a chairman I'm following right now is Charlie Munger. Been reading a lot of her stuff lately.
Number 3, what's your favorite online tool for building your company?
Favorite tool, Active Campaign.
Number 4, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
7 to 8.
That's good. And what's your situation? Married, single, kids?
Co-living with girlfriend.
Okay. And how old are you?
28.
28. Last question, man. What do you wish your 20-year-old self knew?
That that the best that the most efficient and best decisions stem off of principles rather than theory.
Guys, there you have it. Trend.io, connecting micro influencers with brands. They have about 250 on the platform. And at any given 30-day period, 60 brands are putting about $1,000 through the platform. They've grown from about $25,000 a month back in late 2018 to now about $60,000 a month as they look to scale up to $1 million run rate. They are burning cash to do it. About 20 grand per month is burn right now as they look to continue to scale. Ramon, thank you for taking us to the top.
Yeah, thank you, Nathan.